So we're going to go ahead and jump in here. Um, what we'll be doing today is we're going to be rolling through an AI agentic framework that I've designed with marketers in mind, but also for those that might not be marketers but do project rollouts, etc., that they would have the capability of getting value out of this. And really, the focus here is something that can help offload like repetitive tasks if you're using different types of solutions to generate marketing content assets, writing LinkedIn blog posts and things of that nature. So the platforms and tools we'll be using today will be Make.com. We'll also be utilizing OpenAI Assistant, 11 Labs, which will be helping us create a generative AI voice audio output. And for those that use Google, my demonstration will be highlighting that. If you have OneDrive from Microsoft or something else, you have the Make.com platform works with those as well. So it will be pretty straightforward and easy for you to plug and play. For those that once you see this, you're like, there's no way that I can build that. Don't worry. I have some leave behind material that you can get the blueprint from that I built from make.com, and you can upload that into your solution, and you'll have a framework by which to leverage. You will have to just automate and update to your specific instances and APIs, etc., which will be nice. So let's jump in. So I'll walk through what we have going on in this solution. And ideally, this solution should save those that are in the world of creating marketing assets somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour, if not more. I've chatted with some of my colleagues here at Element 451, and they've all alluded that this is going to be a significant time savings for them. So how this operates is it's pretty simple. It's a simple PDF file of any type of marketing content, and it doesn't have to be marketing content to be transparent. It could be a academic paper, very rich, 30, 40 page academic paper. It can be an upcoming event, anything that you could think of that can be PDF'd. That's how this thing will work. And what will happen is that PDF file will be passed down into OpenAI. Our assistant is going to look at it and it's going to apply some reasoning to understand what tools should be leveraged to generate those assets. And based off of the tools that it has access to, it will instruct those tools to go perform that, providing it some recommendations and information that it's looking and suggesting. And what we'll have as an output is a single file that will have all those assets and all that feedback in a singular place. So we'll go ahead and look at very quickly. This is the OpenAI assistant. I'm not going to go all the way in and build this assistant on this demo. Sorry for that. But I do have the instructions on how to go about doing this. So this is one paid solution that you would have that you would need to get as the OpenAI component, relatively inexpensive to run these. So just to highlight that, Make.com does have a free trial with some limited usage of their solution, so it's not terribly expensive. And similarly for 11 Labs, they have a number of audio files that you can have generated that you don't have to pay for, but all relatively inexpensive solutions that are approachable to anyone and very economical. So what tools we will have at our disposal, and this said, I've already started building additional tools for some of our internal teams, but the first one is just a LinkedIn post creator. So it's going to take the context of that information, if told to do so, and actually create some LinkedIn related post, an email that's specific to the content that's provided, and an audio script talking about what was provided to that, what was provided to the agent, and then some general branding and image will be populated as well. We'll be leveraging OpenAI's DALL-E platform for this. And I will highlight on this piece, if you have an image creation solution, it's pretty easy to pull into this. Internally, we have the option of utilizing a solution called RenderForm, which we have a templated image and it auto creates. And we've been able to build that out on make.com as well, but we won't dive into that. It's a little too much, but glad to feel free to reach out to me and I'm glad to explain how we do that here at Element 451. So again, general time savings here. So traditionally, how a lot of folks might be doing this today is they get some content, they go to ChatGPT or their preferred LLM of choice, put the content in and they get it, and then they copy and paste and put it into LinkedIn. Now what we've done is actually we've created a standardized prompt. So if you already have a really good prompt that you like to use, you can just plug that into the tool. And what's important about that is that you can give, branding constraints, voice constraints, tone, etc., all to the agent so that the work that you're doing, you're not having to refine that multiple times. It just gets it done the first time, and you get a much more strong draft through it. Email copyright, similar kind of thing here, which is you can put your branding, your voice guidelines, etc., through the solution. Audio script depends on what the theme of your organization, institution might be, and give it a little flair, a little bit less flair, whatever you would like to do. And then similarly with the branding image, you have that capability of, say, look like these type of things as relates to the output. So let's jump into this. So I'm logged into the make.com platform, and what you'll see on this left-hand carousel is scenarios. You have the ability to leverage templates that Make has. They have a ton of templates. I will also note, and if you were on one of Artis's prior sessions, the top 10 tools for 2025, he did reference Make as one of those solutions. Element 451 integrates with Make. So it's a really nice solution. If you haven't explored it, it can be super, super convenient if you're trying to do AI-enabled workflows and are struggling with the capabilities of doing that. We won't go into that today with this solution, but there is, I think you'll sort of see the ideation of how you could use a solution like this to import and potentially help with some communication work that's out of that. So I'll run through very quickly how this operates. Right now, what we have going on here is this is tied into a single Google Drive file, and it's watching for new files to be uploaded into it. Once those new files get uploaded into it, it goes in and is then going to pass it off to our friends over in OpenAI, and it's going to put that into a vector store. Thought process, important piece here. Make sure to have a business enterprise solution if you have any data concerns and privacy issues. That this data vector store is going to house that information, and we're going to tell our agent to look for that file to perform its action. What we have at this step is first, we're actually going to want to see some observability of our agent, and we're going to see how it's thinking, why it came to the decisions that it came to, what tools it came to, why it selected those, and give us a general summary information. Strongly recommend this with any AI agent you build is observability of the understanding of the how and the why it got to what it did. And it will help a lot if you're prompting to make certain types of modifications through it. Once that is complete, it will run through the respective tools that are selected, and we'll have a singular output. These are all actually the same file right here. This little branch is a little bit different. This branch, what it's actually going to be doing is going to be taking if the script writer, the transcript is selected as a feature, it's going to write that down and actually create a net new document. It's going to save that transcript, and then 11 Labs is going to pick that up. It's going to save that file down to us. That saved file, we're going to pass that link over to our core output marketing com document to be able to see all that information. So right now, that is how this whole process works, and it's going to probably take about as long as it took me to describe this to run this whole solution. So we'll jump in here really quick. And I've got two files. We'll probably only run through one just based on the timing that we have today. But let's look at this first file. A quick shout out. If you didn't know about the Engage Summit coming up this summer, here's a little plug for it. So this was a document that we had. It's already been put together. But as you can see, it's pretty rich. It's got some good information about it, when it's going to be, what's going on with it, etc. And what we're going to do for this very quickly is just going to create a copy. And why we just create a copy, this is going to simulate the action of a new file being uploaded. A copy file is the same as if it was going to be uploaded into the Google Drive file here. So we have now made the copy. And do not have this fully running constantly. So this is a simple option. You can actually do it on demand. As anything net new comes in, you can run it. But we'll go ahead and just run this once. So right now, this is all running over into our OpenAI assistant. It's analyzing that file. It's going through its thought process, which is, we'll jump back over here really quickly just to sort of highlight what's going on here. And the prompt instructions inside of this are review the file that has been given to you, and you have the optionality of using four solutions. The four solutions that I described, say if those are applicable or not. Once that is true, proceed on, and then those subsequent tools will be leveraged and pulled into the make scenario from there forth. Or so we're almost through it. It's probably one of the longest parts and steps right now. All right, so you saw this initial action here. So as I was talking about, this is how that agent took that information and how and what it viewed, thinking about the potential audiences that are relevant to this group. And then now it's rolling through this and says, okay, LinkedIn posts, this is important. This should be included. So its applicability is yes. Let's pull that information in. Our copywriter, yes, let's pull that tool in, providing some relevant information extracted from that solution. Scriptwriter, same kind of thing that's going on here. And then our image creator running through, and a general recommendation summary. So we'll jump back really quickly, and almost everything looks like it has performed. So the benefit of that is, as you can see, we now already have our LinkedIn post. So this is a draft variation of it. So the simple copy and paste, bring it over, put it into LinkedIn. The benefit with make.com, if you want to, you can go one step further in an automation, which is you can directly push to LinkedIn if you want to get that wild. I feel, and I think a lot of folks still feel, having a little observability, little critiques and changes are still important. But those are all things you can do. And then what we'll do here is we'll actually check out this 11 Labs file that was generated for us.
Welcome to Engage Summit 2025, the premier event for AI-driven transformation in higher education. Taking place June 24, 25 in Charlotte, North Carolina, this summit brings together leaders, strategists, and innovators to explore how AI can revolutionize student success, enrollment, and engagement. At Engage, you'll experience hands-on.
All right, so that's the output of that. You can see the course script that is here. A couple things that you could do. If you wanted to review the script before passing off to 11 Labs, you could put an additional step in there that would stop make, and then allow for that to be triggered, or create a separate scenario altogether. Our email copy is right here, and just generates that out pretty easily. And that's it. So within, what is it, 3.5, 4 or 5 minutes, you went ahead and we've completed this entire process. And the intentionality of this work is, this can be utilized and leveraged in your flow of work. And what we'll do here really quick, if we want to, is we'll actually take this additional solution, and I'll show you how, instead of just doing an email sequence, if we wanted to, we could actually modify this to potentially do, instead of one email, we can look at multiple emails. So I'll show you how easy these solutions are right now. So we've got that built. I'll clone this as well. Tag it to this guy. And the one thing that I will note within the agent, I'm using the email component because there's going to be the way in which this is being pulled in. It should go ahead and provide us a series of emails because it's known that it's allowed to produce emails themselves. Craft a series emails. Okay. Now we need to come in here. Do one thing to help myself identify this, because this is sometimes a little bit of a challenge. All right. This is going to be blank. And one of the core things that'll actually happen, and you'll notice this when we go through it, is right now there's no results that come out. But we'll go ahead and put this in here. Result. And then create it. There's no information quite yet. So this isn't going to run until we use this next solution. So now we're actually going to look at this AI paper. If I click, we'll actually copy it. So interesting paper, if you're curious about it, on the perceptions and practices and potential distrusts of generative AI amongst instructors. I feel like it's a topical piece for what we have here, but we'll end up using this same one real quick. All right. Okay. And just for transparency purposes, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this additional content. And notable, if you wanted to, you can actually have Make create a net new file each time. In this situation, I'm just going to utilize one file just for demonstration purposes, but it's pretty easy. If you look at this little section here, this is how you would actually go through that process and leverage that within your solution. Looks like there's a handful of questions, and I'll jump back into them, don't worry. So that was a pretty big piece of paper that I ran through. It's leveraging, highlighting some of the core statistics in terms of what should go into the LinkedIn, image creation, and we'll actually jump back and look at the image that it creates throughout. Email copywriter. So we got, here is our blog post. A branding image, which I forgot to look at last time, but fun branding image out of generative AI. So again, Make has the ability to pull in a lot of different groups. So if you're a Midjourney fan, if you have your image generation fan, Make most likely has an integration. If not, if there's an API solution, it's pretty easy to create that within Make as well. We got the 11 Ellipse script and some of our email script and a copy output. And then our additional, I forgot to change the output on this, but now you have multiple emails. So we now have an email sequence. So, all right. So now, just as a quick recap here, what we've done, very simply, take a PDF file, drop that into our Make scenario, and you're able to generate multiple assets. And it's pretty straightforward. The key here is you're probably doing a lot of repetitive task of having to go to the prompt and, using a prompt library to do that type of work. In this situation, you can just do it once and you're done. And or if you have experts that are good at drafting prompts, you can, pull them into the scenario and say, hey, I want to build this and I want it to look like that. Leverage their time, and now you have a nice codified type solution that's there. So, but that is it for me. I'm going to invite Mallory back, and we'll take it from there.
Fantastic. Doug, I feel like we just nerded out with you for the last 23 minutes, and it was pretty spectacular. So, Lindsay, I promise you did not miss a prerequisite. Although, if you didn't catch the opening keynote, I would say maybe that's the prereq to this one. Well, Doug, so that was fantastic. We do have a few minutes, folks, for Q&A before we wrap up the first day here. So let me ask you a couple questions, Doug, that I was thinking about while you were presenting. So I know we have a lot of marketers who are joining us today. So for those of us Marcom folks, what assets do you usually need to create that you didn't cover today? Oop. Doug, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, one of them that I'm thinking about that, I think of the Enrollify work that we do, right? Which is, hey, I need a very succinct template-based image off of what's going on, right? So that's what, an additional solution that we're using is called Render Form, where we can create a template, takes these elements, populates it into it. So that's one of the core things that pops out to me. The one thing is for the non-Marcom people of, hey, I did the LinkedIn post. Why can't I just do that for Slack? So context of what does this mean to my team? So these additional things of what about the internal messaging? Those would be super useful solutions as well here. And those are also simple to build. As you can see how quickly I was able to add those additional scenarios. It's a little prompting in the AI agent plus a little bit of work on the back end. And you can build whatever kind of asset you want for internal communications as well as external communications.
Awesome. That's great. Folks, if you have any questions for Doug, drop them in the chat. But as we close out this amazing first day of our Winter AI Engage Summit, I'd be remiss if I did not put in a plug to join us back here at noon Eastern tomorrow afternoon. Our opening keynote is with Dr. Janet Spriggs, the president of Forsyth Tech Community College, and Devin Ferguson, AVP for Student Experience Marketing and Outreach at Forsyth Tech. And they are presenting on the leadership blueprint for AI success in higher ed. There's been a lot of talk in the chat rooms today about how important it is that leadership at the top is bought in and how that can accelerate the adoption and maturity of usage of AI on a campus. And there is no leader out there besides, like who has done more on a campus, I believe, than Dr. Janet Spriggs. She has truly led this effort from the top down, although I'm sure tomorrow she is going to tell you that it is her team who is truly making, all the inroads and the impact. So I am so looking forward to hearing Dr. Spriggs and Devin in their presentation tomorrow. Please show up right on time. We're going to get started. And for that, got shout out the 4-hour crew. It is so great that you were able to stick with us for this full afternoon. I see artists is in the chat room noting that we will be able to share the make.com workflow, which is fantastic. And Doug, thank you for dropping Make and Element 451 details about that integration in the chat room as well. Friends, it was so great seeing you this afternoon. Thanks again for an amazing day one. And we'll catch you right back here at the comfort of your home and office tomorrow. Thanks, Doug. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.